chosen one. Listen. Heaven leans close as you read these words. The world has tried to crown you with dust, to convince you that your worth is small, your light dim, your name forgotten. But you were never ordinary. You were never meant to bow to the noise of the earth. You were born carrying the breath of eternity. Somewhere along the way, life tried to make you forget the constant disappointments, the slow betrayals, the endless waiting. They piled like ashes over your true crown. You started to believe that you were unseen, that maybe your calling was a dream you made up on a tired night. But listen carefully, the crown is not gone. It was never taken, only hidden beneath the debris of your own doubt. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 8, verse 5, "You have made them a little lower than angels, and crowned them with glory and honor." Do you understand what that means? Before your first mistake, before your first heartbreak, before you ever prayed your first desperate prayer, you were crowned. Heaven did not wait for you to become perfect before calling you chosen. That crown was set upon your head the moment your soul was conceived in divine imagination. I once knew a woman who forgot her crown. She was quiet, gentle, always the one serving others. But life had worn her down. Her prayers became whispers of survival, not declarations of faith. One day, while walking by the sea, she said she felt God whisper, "Daughter, stop searching for what you already carry." She lifted her hand to her head and wept, not because she felt the weight of metal, but because she finally remembered her worth. That day changed her life. She didn't gain new blessings. She simply began to walk as one who already belonged. That is what this moment is for you, a remembering. The enemy's oldest weapon is amnesia. If he can make you forget who you are, he doesn't need to chain you. You'll chain yourself with doubt. He doesn't need to silence your voice. You'll silence it by fear. But heaven breaks that pattern now. Every word you read is heaven reaching into the fog of your forgetting, brushing the dust off your crown, saying, "Stand up. You are mine." You are not what you lost. You are not what they said. You are not your failure. You are evidence of divine endurance. Every scar on your heart is a testimony that hell tried and failed to destroy you. Think of a diamond buried under layers of mud. To an untrained eye, it's just another stone. But to one who knows its worth, the mud doesn't matter. That's you. You may feel covered by the residue of old seasons, but God never stopped seeing the brilliance beneath. Some of you reading this can feel it, the slow awakening of something sacred within. It's like standing in a forgotten cathedral where the air is heavy with incense and old prayers. You sense that heaven has been waiting for you to walk back in. You were not meant to live small, to shrink under the weight of fear. You were meant to reflect light. So take this moment, right now. Breathe deeply. Lay your hand over your heart and whisper, "I remember," because remembrance is the first step of restoration. As you though, the heavens begin to shift. Angels record the moment. You are not scrolling a feed, you are stepping into prophecy. And hear this, the time of silence is over. The voice of the chosen rises again. You were not made to simply survive the days. You were made to reign over them. I tell you this, with the weight of eternity behind it, what God placed in you cannot be erased, only buried. And buried things in the kingdom are not lost. They are seeds waiting for resurrection. So, yes, the world tried to bury you, but heaven calls it planting, and from this soil, something royal is about to rise. If this message touched something deep inside you, if it reminded you that your crown was never lost, then share it. Someone else may be standing in their forgetting, waiting for your reminder. Click like. Leave a comment with the number 444 as a sign that you choose remembrance. And subscribe so you don't walk this awakening alone. Your crown is waiting. Heaven already sees it shining. Lift your head now. Feel the weight of that unseen crown settling again. The heavens are watching, waiting for your next move. Step forward. Your story of remembrance has only just begun. You have walked through silent years, seasons where heaven seemed still and prayers echoed back empty. Those were not wasted years. They were years of shaping quiet, hidden, holy. You thought nothing was happening, but roots were forming in the unseen. There was a time when you sat beneath the weight of unanswered prayers, wondering if God had turned his face away. Days blurred together. You woke, worked, smiled when you had to, and lay awake at night with questions that never found words. It felt like exile, like your destiny had been delayed indefinitely. Yet in truth, silence was the classroom of your soul. In the wilderness, gold is refined. When nothing grows, you learn what cannot die. Those years were not punishment, they were the furnace where endurance was forged. You mistook stillness for absence, but it was protection. God hid you from things not yet ready for you, and from people not built to walk with your calling. There's a story of a young man, our chosen one like you, who spent years tending sheep on lonely hills. He wasn't forgotten, he was being trained. Each night under the stars, he learned the rhythm of heaven. Each battle with wild beasts strengthened hands that would one day hold a crown. When his moment finally came, he didn't need to adjust, he was already ready. That's what the silent years did for you. They made you ready before the world ever noticed. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 3, I will give you the treasures of darkness, riches stored in secret places, so you may know me. Those treasures weren't things, they were revelations. You learned to hear in the dark. You discovered peace that isn't dependent on applause. You began to understand that real faith doesn't bloom in celebration, it blooms in obscurity. Sometimes silence is not God withholding answers. It's Him waiting for you to grow into the person who can carry them. Imagine a seed underground. It doesn't scream for sunlight. It trusts the timing. You, too, were buried in divine soil. Your roots stretched deep before your branches reached high. And though no one saw it, heaven applauded every inch of growth beneath the surface. There were days you felt abandoned. You questioned if your prayers reached anywhere beyond your ceiling. But faith was being built in the quiet faith that doesn't rely on feelings. That's why you're stronger now. The silence carved something eternal inside you. The chosen one I spoke of earlier, there came a night when he finally understood. The same hills that once echoed with loneliness became his altar. He realized that the solitude had not been a cage, but a sanctuary. The stillness had been holy. Perhaps that's the same realization waiting for you, that the years of delay were actually years of preparation. You were being fitted for what's coming next. Think of a sculptor before a block of marble. Every strike seems like destruction to the untrained eye. But to the artist, it's precision. You have felt those strikes: rejection, waiting, silence, but they were all carving away what couldn't go with you into destiny. There is a peculiar beauty in divine delay. It humbles, purifies, and clarifies. You begin to desire God Himself more than His gifts. And that's when everything begins to change, because when you no longer chase the promise begins to chase you. Look back for a moment. Can you see it now? The doors that didn't open, the friendships that fell apart, the opportunities that slipped away. They weren't losses, they were redirections. Heaven was writing a quieter story beneath your loud questions. You are standing now on the edge of something new, not because the season has changed suddenly, but because you have. The silence has done its work. You have learned to trust without seeing, to stand without applause, to walk without knowing every step. That strength no storm can steal. The world measures progress by movement. Heaven measures it by surrender. You surrendered, and in that surrender, you found what cannot be shaken. So if the silence still lingers in pockets of your heart, don't rush it away. It may still be growing something unseen. The God who hid you will reveal you at the perfect moment. And when He does, you'll recognize that the waiting was never empty. It was sacred. The silent years were not the end of your story. They were the soil where your real story began. You remember the whispers, don't you? The ones that came in the dark hours, when everyone else slept and your thoughts turned against you. They told you that you were too broken, too late, too much. Those weren't your thoughts. They were arrows, words forged in shadow, designed to make you forget that you carry light. The night often speaks loudly when you are closest to breakthrough. You felt it, the tension between exhaustion and awakening. You asked, why does it hurt right before it's about to get better? Because darkness always grows restless when light begins to rise. Once, there was a young man named Elior, a chosen one, who believed his silence meant God had withdrawn. Each night he heard mocking thoughts. You missed your moment. No one says you. But one night, as he sat beside the dim glow of a candle, he realized something. The whisper that brought peace always began with love. The other voice began with fear. That's how he learned to discern the difference between God's guidance and the enemy's lies. What you've been hearing may not be truth. It may be warfare. The mind is a battlefield, and your thoughts are the territory both heaven and hell are after. The devil doesn't need to destroy you if he can deceive you into self-destruction. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 21, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And oak, even your own words can become either medicine or poison. Every time you say, I'm not enough, you partner with the lie that you are less than what heaven created. But when you say, I will rise, the atmosphere shifts. Heaven begins to move. The whispers of darkness thrive in unspoken pain. They grow in the soil of silence. That's why speaking truth is warfare. You don't have to shout. Sometimes victory sounds like a single sentence whispered in faith. Think of it like standing in a long hallway lined with locked doors. Each lie is a lock. Each truth you speak is a key. The first door may take strength to open, but once it does, light begins to flood every room of your mind. Elior's story didn't end in torment. Once he began to speak truth aloud, to declare what God had already said about him, the whispers lost their volume. That same power rests in you. There's a sacred authority in your voice. You don't need a stage to use it. You can speak over your own life right where you are. Peace belongs to me. Joy belongs to me. My future is safe in God's hands. And as you say it, the whispers start to tremble. Remember this: darkness cannot silence what refuses to agree with it. You've survived too much to let invisible lies rewrite your identity. When you feel overwhelmed by those inner voices, pause and ask yourself, does this sound like condemnation or conviction? Conviction leads you home, condemnation leaves you in despair. One is a guiding hand, the other a noose. Learn the difference, and you'll never fall for imitation truth again. You are not losing your mind. You are reclaiming it. Heaven is teaching you how to think like royalty again. There's an image that fits you, a lighthouse standing alone on a stormy cliff. Waves crash. Wind screams. Darkness presses, but the light keeps turning. It doesn't argue with the storm. It simply keeps shining. That's you. The whispers may rage, but they can't put out what's divine. So, right now, speak this truth softly but firmly. I am still here. You've walked through storms that would have swallowed others whole, yet you remain. That is proof of divine strength. And if this word finds you in the middle of the night, trembling between faith and fatigue, let it settle deep. The whisper of fear is loud only because it's hollow. Truth carries weight. And that's why even a small word of light can scatter darkness. Comment, light wins below, because when you type those words, you aren't just reacting to a message. You're prophesying to your own life. You're declaring that the whispers no longer have the final say. You've heard enough lies. Now, it's time to speak life. When you declare, light wins, it's not just a phrase, it's alignment. You're choosing to believe that every shadow in your story serves a greater sunrise. Heaven records that confession. Angels move when faith speaks. Every word becomes a seed of restoration, taking root within you. Because truth isn't keyed, it transforms. Each time you speak life, the sound waves travel farther than you know. They break patterns of fear in unseen realms. So, keep speaking. Keep remembering. Light doesn't need to fight darkness. It only needs to shine. There are markings on your soul that no one else can see, signs of ownership written by the hand of heaven. You carry evidence of divine authorship, and even your scars are proof that grace has touched you. You have been marked, not by accident, but by intention. You have probably wondered why you never fit in, why your spirit always seemed restless in spaces where others felt comfortable. It's because you were never meant to blend in, you were meant to stand apart. The mark of the chosen is both a calling and a weight. It is the silent awareness that you cannot live like everyone else, because your destiny is not like everyone else's. You've felt it since childhood, that strange pull towards something higher, something unseen. Even when you tried to hide it, heaven kept reminding you. Doors that others walked through easily seemed to close for you. People you wanted to follow drifted away. At times, you felt excluded. But in truth, you were being preserved. God was setting you apart before you ever understood why. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. That declaration didn't end with Jeremiah. It echoes through generations, reaching even now to you. Being set apart isn't about perfection, it's about purpose. It means heaven made a claim over you that cannot be revoked. A chosen one once told me a story of how he tried to run from that mark. He chased success, relationships, and recognition. But every time he reached the top of one mountain, an invisible voice would whisper, "This isn't it." He mistook that restlessness for dissatisfaction, but later realized it was divine mercy. God would not let him settle for a life that didn't match his anointing. You know that feeling. 2, the sense that even good things sometimes feel hollow. That's not failure. It's the whisper of your calling, reminding you that comfort can never replace purpose. You were not designed to live small. The mark on your soul is the seal of one sent. Sometimes that mark looks like rejection. The places you weren't invited to, the people who couldn't stay, the paths that closed. All of it was heaven's way of preserving your distinction. Oil and water never mix. Not because one is better, but because their purposes differ. You are oil meant to anoint, to heal, to ignite. It's why you attract both light and resistance. Those who recognize your spirit are drawn to it. Those bound in darkness are disturbed by it. You carry a spiritual frequency that exposes what hides in shadow. Don't resent that. Even Jesus' presence made demons tremble before he spoke a word. The mark you carry is not a burden, it's evidence. It says, you belong to something eternal. Think of molten gold being stamped with a seal before it cools. Once the mark is pressed in, no flame can erase it. The surface may be scratched, but the imprint remains. That's you. Life's fire shaped you, but it also sealed you. And your scars? They are not symbols of defeat. They are signatures of survival. The nail marks in Christ's hands did not vanish. After resurrection, they became proof of his glory. Likewise, your wounds are not disqualifications, they are credentials. There was a season when you wished the evidence of your pain would disappear. You wanted to be whole without memory. But God chose to let the marks remain, not as reminders of suffering, but as testimonies of redemption. Every scar whispers, I've been through fire, and I still shine. No, when others see your life and ask how you've endured, they will not only see your strength, they will see the fingerprints of the one who claimed you. You are the canvas on which heaven has signed its name. So do not envy those who seem to live unmarked lives. The absence of struggle is not the measure of favor. The mark you bear gives you authority to speak life where others only see ruin. It allows you to walk into dark places and carry light without fear. There will come a time when that mark will open doors no human hand can. People will recognize something different about you, though they may not know why. That's the fragrance of purpose. For now, walk confidently with your seal. The world may not understand it, but heaven rejoices over it. You are a vessel that carries the divine signature, a reminder to creation that God still chooses, still marks, still calls. Your scars are sacred ink. Your story, a scroll still being written, and every chapter begins with this truth. You are known, chosen, and unmistakably marked by heaven. There is a sound that echoes through eternity, the sound of remembrance. It calls you back to where it all began. You may not remember the garden, but something in your soul does. It remembers what peace felt like before pain, what purpose sounded like before the noise. That memory is the echo of Eden. Every heart carries it. even if faintly a longing for the place where you first walked with God without fear, where every breath felt like worship and every moment was holy. The world has tried to drown that sound with distraction and doubt, but it's still there, humming like a soft melody under the chaos. You feel it most when the world grows quiet. It's that pull that makes you look at the stars longer than you meant to, or that sudden tear that falls when a song touches something ancient in your heart. That's Eden calling you home. We find it written in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 10. I have come that they may have life, and have it more abundantly. This abundance isn't about having more things, it's about remembering more truth. Abundance begins when you realize that you already have access to heaven's presence. The greatest wealth is not in possessions, but in peace. There's a story about a man who spent years chasing success. He thought fulfillment would come once he achieved enough, earned enough, gained enough. But each victory felt hollow. Like drinking salt water, it filled the moment, but never the soul. One day, sitting in silence, he remembered his childhood prayers, those simple conversations with God before life complicated faith. Tears came. For the first time in years, he felt alive. Not richer, not more powerful, just whole. That was Eden awakening within him. You've had moments like that too, the ones that make time pause. Maybe it was during a sunrise, or in the middle of laughter, or when a quiet kindness caught you off guard. In those flashes, heaven breaks through the ordinary to remind you who you are and where you truly belong. Eden isn't just a place, it's a condition of the soul. It's the alignment between who you are and who God made you to be. It's where striving ends and resting begins. But here's the truth. Every reminder of Eden carries an invitation. The more you awaken, the more you're called to help others awaken too. That's how restoration spreads, one heart remembering, then another. When you share this message, you're not just pressing a button, you're releasing light. Imagine your action as a small lantern set afloat on a river of grace, joining hundreds of others drifting through the night. Each like, each share, each subscription becomes another lantern, guiding someone lost back toward home. And if your heart feels moved, let generosity flow the same way. To donate is to pour a drop of oil into the lamp that lights this house. No pressure, no condition, just a voluntary act of love. Like tending the flame that once warmed you. Your giving is not a transaction, it's a reflection. When a lighthouse shines across the sea, the ships that benefit never pay the light. They honor it by passing the beam forward. That's what your support does. It keeps the beam alive for others still at sea. So like this, if it stirred your spirit, share it so another soul might remember. Subscribe so we can walk this journey together, step by step. And if you ever feel led to donate, do it as an offering of gratitude, not obligation, because the light you sustain today may be the one that finds you again tomorrow. The echo of Eden grows louder when hearts unite. Together, we can build a space where lost ones remember again. You were never meant to keep the light to yourself. You are a spark in the greater flame, a reflection of Eden reborn. The garden within you is awakening again. You can feel the soil of your soul stirring, as if every forgotten prayer is starting to breathe. Eden is not behind you, it is growing inside you, waiting to bloom through your words, your kindness, your faith. Every small act of love becomes a seed planted back into that holy ground. You don't need perfection to tend it, only willingness. The light you give away multiplies until it circles back, brighter than before, touching corners of the world you'll never see. And as you continue walking this path, remember, restoration isn't a destination, it's a rhythm. Every sunrise whispers the same truth. You are part of Eden's return. Keep shining. Keep tending the garden. There's something stirring deep within you again, a fire that refuses to stay buried. You've tried to quiet it, to reason it away, but heaven keeps breathing on the embers. You feel it when you're alone. That sudden rush of warmth in your chest. The awareness that something greater is calling your name. This is not imagination. This is awakening. The silence that once felt heavy is beginning to crack. You are hearing heaven's rhythm again. The same spirit that hovered over the waters at creation now hovers over your heart. You can almost feel the pulse of divine life moving through you, as if your soul itself has started to remember its original flame. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 20, verse 9, it is written, "His word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones. I am weary of holding it in. Indeed, I cannot." Hell, that's what this season feels like. Holy fire returning to places that had gone cold. You once carried dreams that burned brightly, but life's storms drenched them in disappointment. Now, heaven is reigniting them, not for your comfort, but for your calling. I once heard the story of a young woman named Arya, a chosen one who had stopped believing in her purpose. After years of waiting, she convinced herself that maybe the promise wasn't real. She lived quietly, working, surviving, convincing her heart to stop hoping. One evening, she walked past a small church where a song spilled into the street. Something in the melody reached for her. She stopped, just for a moment, and whispered, "If you're still there, remind me." No, she didn't hear thunder. She didn't see light. But as she stood under the glow of a street lamp, she felt warmth flood her chest like the faint flicker of a flame she'd thought had died long ago. From that night on, she couldn't return to numbness. The fire had returned, gentle yet unstoppable. That's how awakening begins, not as an explosion, but as a spark. You felt that spark too. The late-night thought that says, there has to be more than this. The way certain words pierce through your routine, as if written only for you. That's heaven's reminder the fire never went out. Sometimes, you mistake exhaustion for emptiness. But it's really the friction between who you've become and who you're meant to be. The flame grows restless inside you because it was born to spread, not to hide. You cannot cage what was designed to burn. When the fire of God awakens within you, it changes how you see everything. The same struggles that once felt like punishment now feel like preparation. The ashes of old seasons become fuel for new ones. The things that broke you become the very kindling that sustains the blaze. Think of it this way. A forest fire clears the ground, but in its aftermath, the soil becomes richer, and life returns more vibrant than before. Your soul is the same. Every loss, every tear, every unanswered prayer, it all becomes nourishment for new growth once the fire of purpose returns. You may wonder, why now? Because heaven's timing is precise. God reignites when the heart is finally ready to carry heat without burning out. You've been tempered by silence, refined by waiting, purified by pain. The fire returning to you now is not reckless, it's refined. It won't consume you, it will commission you. This isn't just about passion, it's about power. The fire is authority, courage, and clarity, all burning together. It gives you words that heal and presence that shifts atmospheres. Let this be your sign that the flame is real. Don't fear it. Welcome it. Let it burn away the residue of fear and hesitation. Let it light the path you couldn't see before. And now, if you feel this word stirring something deep in you, comment Sheba Mot Shebaim Vesheba below, not as a ritual, but as a symbol of divine completion, the number that represents fullness, the finished work, the circle of promise coming to life again. 777 means it is time. It's heaven's whisper that your waiting season has fulfilled its purpose. When you type it, you're not just reacting, you're declaring alignment. You're saying, I am ready to live whole again. I am ready to walk in the completion of what God began. It's your covenant of fire, your way of acknowledging that the same spirit that once sparked your heart has reignited it now with holy resolve. Because this is your ignition moment. This is the sound of your spirit catching fire again. The warmth you feel right now, that's not emotion. That's evidence. The fire that sleeps inside you has finally remembered its name, and it's whispering through every breath. Rise, burn, shine. Every great battle begins in the mind before it reaches the field. You have already felt it, the quiet conflict between remembrance and forgetting, between the truth you know and the lies that try to rewrite it. The greatest struggle of a chosen one is not against people or circumstances, but against amnesia. Hell's fiercest weapon is forgetfulness. You were never meant to wander uncertain of who you are. Yet every storm, every wound, every voice of accusation tried to erase your memory of divine origin. The enemy does not fear your talent or your strength, he fears your memory. Because when you remember who you are, you become unstoppable. Think of a lion raised among sheep. It might learn to graze, to stay quiet, to follow the flock. But one day, something deep within hears a roar echoing in the distance, and suddenly its spirit awakens. It remembers. The moment the lion remembers, fear loses its grip. That's what is happening inside you right now. According to what is written in the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6, My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because you have rejected knowledge. I also reject you. Oh, that knowledge is not information, it's identity. To forget who you are is to lose the map of your destiny. When you remember, the ground beneath your feet shifts. The mind is the battlefield where eternity and deception wrestle for authority. Every thought is a seed, and whichever one you water becomes your reality. The voice of fear will always sound familiar because it tries to mimic your own, but the voice of truth carries peace. Even when it challenges you, there's a story told among the old saints of a young man who once carried great faith. Over time, he began to believe he was too flawed for God to use. He would still pray, but half-heartedly, as if heaven had grown tired of hearing him. One night he dreamed of a field of mirrors, each reflecting a distorted version of himself. The first showed him too small, the next too scarred, another too late. At the center of the field stood one clear mirror. When he dared to look, he saw not his own reflection, but light radiant, endless. gentle yet overwhelming. When he woke, he wept. He realized he had been fighting illusions, not truth. That is the same revelation waiting for you. The lies that say you are forgotten, that your season has passed, that your prayers are empty, these are just mirrors built by darkness. Break them. Every thought that contradicts your purpose must be challenged. When fear whispers, "You can't," answer it with the evidence of your survival. When doubt says, "You're alone," remind it of the countless nights you were carried through storms you couldn't see. Memory itself is a weapon. The chosen are not invincible because they never fall. They are invincible because they never forget to rise. In spiritual warfare, remembrance is resistance. Every time you recall what God has done, you reclaim territory. Every time you speak your testimony, you remind the darkness that it has already lost. Sometimes, remembering will hurt. It will stir the ashes of what was lost, and that's okay. The tears that fall in remembrance are not weakness, they are sacred rain, softening the soil for new faith to grow. Think of your mind as a garden. Thoughts of fear and shame are weeds. They grow fast and choke the roots of peace. But thoughts of gratitude and truth are seeds. When you tend them daily, when you water them with prayer and guard them with focus, the garden begins to flourish again. The battle for memory is not won in one moment. It's a lifelong discipline of choosing truth over noise. That's why meditation, worship, silence, all these are weapons of clarity. They help you hear again the voice that has been speaking since the beginning. You are mine. Even now, as you read these words, heaven is restoring what was forgotten. Fragments of confidence return. Pieces of peace reassemble. Your courage finds its form again. Do not fear the battle. The very fact that you feel the pressure is proof that something valuable is being protected. Diamonds are not fought for in empty fields. They are buried treasures, worth the struggle. So hold your ground. Let the roar return to your spirit. Let your memory rise like the sun after a long night. The darkness cannot erase what heaven has written. And when the dust settles, you will not only remember who you are, you will remember whose you are. There comes a moment when you must face the mirror, not the kind that shows your reflection, but the one that reveals your soul. For too long, you've looked at yourself through the eyes of disappointment, measuring your worth by how others have treated you. But the time of distorted vision is over. Heaven is holding up a mirror of truth, and it's asking you to look again. You have carried labels that were never meant for you, words spoken in anger, failures that became false identities, mistakes that clung like shadows. You believed them for so long that they began to shape how you moved, how you loved, how you prayed. But the mirror of truth doesn't reflect your sin, it reflects your design. The Apostle reminds us in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 18, "And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit." That is what the mirror of heaven shows. Transformation, not condemnation. When you finally look at yourself through God's eyes, shame begins to lose its vocabulary. There's a story about a man who couldn't forgive himself. He had made choices that left scars on people he loved. Though years passed and apologies were spoken, he still lived chained to his regret. One morning, an old pastor handed him a small mirror and said, "Look, The man hesitated, afraid of what he might see. The pastor smiled and whispered, "You've been looking for your old self in the reflection. But that man is gone. The one staring back is the redeemed one." Alan, that truth shattered him in the best way. He realized that God wasn't asking him to earn forgiveness, but to receive it. The mirror became a reminder that redemption doesn't erase the past, it transforms it. Many of us fear to see what heaven sees because we assume judgment will follow. But the truth is far gentler. God doesn't show you your reflection to accuse you. He shows you so you can recognize your resemblance to Him. Look closer. That glimmer in your eyes, the resilience that refused to die, that's divine DNA. The compassion you carry, even after betrayal, is proof that love still rules your heart. The longing for truth, for purity, for meaning, that's your spirit, remembering home. The mirror of truth is not glass, it's revelation. And revelation doesn't flatter, it frees. Sometimes the hardest part isn't forgiving others, it's forgiving yourself. You can't walk in freedom while replaying your failures. Each time you revisit an old shame, it's like reopening a healed wound. But when you dare to see yourself as heaven does, you start to walk differently. Your posture changes. Your speech softens. You stop apologizing for existing past. Think of a cracked mirror catching sunlight. Each fracture scatters light into 1,000 directions, creating beauty that perfection could never make. Your scars do the same. They bend light in ways that only your story can. If only you could see what heaven sees when you wake up, how angels marvel at the strength it took for you to keep believing. How your quiet perseverance becomes worship. You don't need to try harder to be loved. You only need to look longer into the truth. The old mirror, the one built from other people's opinions, has to be broken. You've stared into it for too long, trying to find yourself in fragments that never fit. But the true mirror waits, held steady by grace, whispering, "This is who you are, beloved, redeemed, radiant." When you begin to agree with that reflection, life aligns. You stop chasing validation and start walking in purpose. You stop hiding your story and begin using it as light. Even the way you see others changes. The mirror that once revealed your flaws becomes a window through which you start recognizing the same divine fingerprints on them. That's how love multiplies. It begins with seeing rightly. So, take another look, not into the world's reflection, but into heaven's truth. You will find no condemnation there, only recognition. You are being transformed, little by little, from glory to glory. The mirror of truth does not lie, and the face it reflects, even with all its lines and history, is the face of someone heaven still calls worthy, beautiful, chosen. Every sunrise will remind you your reflection is not fading, it's deepening. Each day adds another brushstroke of grace to the masterpiece God is painting in you. Keep looking with unveiled eyes. Let heaven's mirror define you, not the past. You are no longer broken glass, you are reflected, glory made whole. There is a sound that follows you. It's been echoing through the storms, whispering through the silence, calling you by name when no one else does. You may have thought it was your own imagination, a fleeting thought or memory, but it wasn't. That voice has been the same from the beginning, the voice of God reminding you who you are. He has spoken to you in moments you didn't even recognize as holy, in the stillness between tears, in the pause between one breath and the next. You didn't always hear words. Sometimes it came as peace, a sudden calm that interrupted fear. That's how heaven speaks, not always loud, but always clear. Scripture says in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 27, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." This isn't about religion, it's about recognition. When your spirit hears its true name, it knows where it belongs. Every false identity, every borrowed label, begins to fall away. You don't have to force it. It happens naturally when truth speaks. There was once a man named Cael, a chosen one who had grown tired of waiting for signs. He prayed but heard nothing. One night, overwhelmed with frustration, he shouted, "If you're real, speak to me." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the wind outside his window shifted, carrying the scent of rain, and in the stillness, he heard not audibly, but deep within words that didn't come from him, "You already know my voice, you've just forgotten its tone." From that moment, everything changed. He stopped chasing voices outside and started recognizing the one within. That's when revelation began to flow again, not from striving, but from stillness. You see, the voice of God isn't always thunder. Sometimes it's the gentle reminder in your spirit when you're about to give up. Sometimes it's the warmth that enters the room when you speak His name in exhaustion. It's the sudden clarity that says, "Don't quit yet." The enemy wants to fill your life with noise because he knows you were created to respond to one sound, the voice of your shepherd. That's why confusion and distraction have increased. They are strategies to drown divine frequency. But God is patient. He knows how to reach you, even in chaos. His voice still finds its way through. You could run to the ends of the earth, but the sound would follow, calling gently, "Come home." No, when you finally stop running, when you allow silence to stretch long enough, you'll notice that the voice you were chasing has been inside you all along. It speaks in alignment, in peace, in conviction that feels like comfort. You don't have to question whether He's speaking. You only have to recognize the difference between noise and knowing. Noise demands, knowing reassures. Noise pressures, knowing invites. Think of a mother who recognizes her child's cry in a crowded room. Dozens of voices might shout, but one sound reaches her heart. That's how God hears you, and that's how your spirit hears Him. No matter how loud life becomes, the frequency of love always finds its listener. Maybe you've been waiting for a sign, but here's a truth. Your desire to hear Him is the sign. The hunger itself proves the connection still lives. The very longing is evidence of relationship. So when that gentle voice says, "Rest," don't argue. When it says, "Forgive," trust it. When it says, "Move," step forward, even if the ground looks thin. The shepherd never leads into confusion, only into becoming. Now, if these words have stirred something deep within you, let your heart respond. Comment, "I'm listening," below. Just 3 words, but they're more than text on a screen. They're a prophetic act, a doorway to deeper intimacy. When you type it, you're not announcing perfection, you're acknowledging awareness. You're saying, "I recognize the voice again," and heaven hears it, echoing back, "And I have never stopped speaking to you." Because in every storm, every silence, and every search, the voice that called your name still calls you now, softly, steadily, faithfully. When you say, "I'm listening," you open the door of awareness. It's more than a reply, it's surrender. Heaven doesn't need volume to hear you. It responds to willingness. The whisper becomes a conversation. That phrase is a declaration that noise no longer rules your world. It means you've chosen to tune your spirit to divine frequency again. Even in ordinary moments, you'll begin to notice the sacred rhythm behind everything. And slowly, the fear of silence fades. You'll realize the voice of God was never distant, it was patient. Waiting for the moment your heart grew still enough to hear again. There comes a point when everything breaks, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you. You remember that moment, don't you? When everything you planned, prayed, and hoped for seemed to fall apart all at once. You stood among the ruins of your own expectations, wondering how something so sacred could collapse so suddenly. But what if it wasn't destruction? What if it was divine reconstruction? The hand of God sometimes dismantles what was built on survival, so he can rebuild on surrender. The breaking was never punishment, it was preparation. The voice of God thundered once through the book of Amos. Chapter 9, verse 11. In that day I will restore David's fallen shelter, repair its broken walls, and restore its ruins. That promise still breathes today. God is not afraid of ruins, he specializes in them. The same hands that shaped Eden are reaching through your rubble now, gathering fragments and fitting them into a new design. It's hard to believe that when you're in the middle of it, pain doesn't look like progress. Yet, if you look back, you'll see how every loss cleared space for something better. Every ending carried the seed of a beginning. There's a story of a man named Silas who once built his life around certainty plans, positions, people. When all of it fell apart, he felt as though God had gone silent. But in that silence, something gentle began to stir, a sense of being guided, even through grief. He later said, "When everything broke, I discovered God was not in the building, but in the rebuilding." No, that's the truth many forget. Sometimes the miracle isn't what survives the fire, but what emerges from the ashes. Imagine a potter at work. The clay takes shape, but suddenly he crushes it back into a lump. To an observer, it looks like failure, but to the artist, it's refinement. He saw imperfections that would have cracked later under heat, so he breaks it to reshape it for greater use. That's what God did with you. You weren't ruined, you were reformed. There's also the image of a vineyard after pruning. Branches lie scattered on the soil. Yet in that season of loss, roots deepen and sweetness develops. What felt like cutting was actually cultivation. You've walked through those seasons, stripped, emptied, undone. But now, the soil of your soul is ready for new fruit. So, take a breath. Look at how far you've come. You're still standing, that's grace. You still hope, that's faith. You still love, that's proof the breaking didn't break you. If these words have reminded you that rebuilding is still holy, then let this be your invitation to stay connected, to keep walking this journey of remembrance and rebirth together. Like this message, if it resonates with your spirit. When you do, you're not just clicking a symbol, you're adding your light to the mosaic of faith being rebuilt across the world. Share it as a way of planting seeds. Somewhere, someone is standing in their ruins, and your act of sharing may be the first sign of dawn they've seen in a long time. Subscribe if you want to walk deeper into this rhythm of restoration, where every message becomes another brick, in the foundation of your healing. And if your heart feels stirred, you may choose to give. Think of it as placing a small stone into the temple that's being rebuilt, not out of pressure, but gratitude. Every seed you sow is like pouring water over the roots that once felt dry. You're not funding words, you're fueling light. True giving is worship. It flows freely, like a river that knows where home is. If you give, let it be a reflection of joy, not obligation. The potter, the vineyard, the rebuilding, all these stories end the same way. Wholeness. What was broken is not just fixed, it's made stronger, wiser, more radiant. So keep walking forward. Every step you take is a declaration that the ruins are no longer your home. They were only your classroom. And the masterpiece being built from your broken pieces, it's already shining. Every rebuilt soul becomes a lighthouse. You are proof that beauty can grow from ashes, and that light doesn't fear ruin. It learns to rise through it. Each scar on your story reflects not what was lost, but what was redeemed. You are standing in the evidence that God finishes what He starts. So as you walk forward, remember, your restoration isn't quiet, it's radiant. Every step you take sends ripples of hope into the world. Keep shining, keep building, and let your healed life become someone else's open door. The unveiling doesn't happen all at once. It comes in quiet layers, like the slow lifting of morning fog over a sleeping field. At first, you only see faint outlines, shapes, shadows, fragments of who you are becoming. Then, slowly, the light reveals details you never noticed before. That's how truth works. It doesn't rush. It unfolds. There was a time you thought the waiting meant nothing was happening. But all along, heaven was preparing the unveiling, the slow removal of false names, old fears, borrowed masks. You can't see your reflection clearly when it's covered by dust. The waiting was heaven's way of clearing the surface. According to the writings in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." And that command, arise, shine, isn't a suggestion. It's a reminder that your time of hiding has ended. The unveiling has begun. For so long, you have seen yourself through survival's lens. Every choice you made, every dream you dared to hold, was filtered through fear. You adjusted your brightness so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. You made yourself small so you wouldn't seem too much. But heaven never asked you to shrink, it asked you to stand. There's a story told about a sculptor who spent years carving a single statue. When asked how he managed to create something so lifelike, he said, "I didn't carve the angel, I just removed everything that wasn't it." That's what the unveiling feels like. God isn't making you into something new. He's removing what was never you to begin with. The false identities fall off, one by one. Comparison, shame, the need for validation, the guilt of imperfection. You begin to see yourself as heaven has always seen you, radiant, fearless, whole. And when the unveiling happens, you start to notice the light doesn't come from outside. It's been inside all along, waiting for permission to shine. The masks were never protecting you. They were dimming what was divine. Every unveiling carries a small death, the loss of who you pretended to be. It's not easy to let go of old versions of yourself, even broken ones. They gave you comfort. They made you feel safe. But safety isn't the same as freedom. Freedom feels vulnerable at first. It's standing in the open, without armor. Realizing the world no longer has the power to wound you the same way. The unveiling isn't about exposure, it's about restoration. What's being revealed is not your weakness, but your truth. Sometimes the unveiling happens through heartbreak, sometimes through stillness, sometimes through a single moment of honesty with yourself when you finally say, "I can't keep pretending." The unveiling isn't dramatic, it's sacred. You won't always notice the exact moment it begins, but one day you'll wake up and something will feel lighter. You'll laugh differently, freer, fuller. You'll walk differently with a steadier step. You'll love differently without fear of loss. That's when you'll know the veil has lifted. Think of a sunrise reflected on water. The light has always been there. The waves simply needed to calm before the reflection appeared. That's your soul, now still enough to mirror heaven again. And as the unveiling continues, people will begin to see it. Not because you announce it, but because truth radiates without effort. Those who meet you will feel peace before you even speak. That's the mark of authenticity, light that asks for nothing but gives everything. You may still have scars, but they no longer define you. They're not evidence of defeat, they're windows of grace. They let the light through. The unveiled version of you no longer hides them because you know light only shines through what's been broken. This is what it means to be unveiled, to walk in clarity, to speak with gentleness, to stand without apology. You no longer need to explain why you survived. Your presence is explanation enough. So, take a deep breath. Feel the light settling over you, within you. The unveiling is not the end of your transformation, it's the beginning of being seen as you truly are. Heaven smiles when truth stands tall. And right now, heaven is watching you rise unveiled, unafraid, unstoppable. You have spent years becoming what you already were. Now you finally see it. The unveiling doesn't add anything to you. It simply uncovers the brilliance that was buried beneath survival. And when you walk forward from this moment, do it softly but surely. The unveiled do not chase light, they carry it, breathing quietly, yet blazing wherever they go. There are moments when time feels like it bends, when the ordinary becomes sacred, and something inside you knows, this is it. Those are prophetic moments. The ones that divide before from after. You're standing in one now. It's not coincidence that you're reading this at this exact second. Heaven arranges these alignments with precision. And when they arrive, they carry both invitation and responsibility. Everything that has led you here, the waiting, the breaking, the rebuilding, was preparation for this kind of moment. You are not just being reminded of destiny, you are being summoned into it. The Word of God declares in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25, "I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten." That promise is not metaphorical. It's divine mathematics. Heaven counts differently than the earth does. Every year you thought was wasted, every door that never opened, every tear that felt forgotten, it's all being gathered and repurposed. The time you lost is not lost at all, it's being returned in multiplication. A chosen one once told the story of her lost decade. For 10 years she drifted between hope and despair, feeling that her purpose had expired. But one morning, she said, it was as if time itself turned around to face her. Doors she had knocked on years ago began to open. People who had forgotten her name suddenly remembered. What she once mourned as delay became the foundation for divine acceleration. She whispered through tears, "God didn't forget. He was just rearranging." No, that's what heaven is doing now, rearranging what once seemed lost. Restoration doesn't simply mean receiving back what was taken. It means being upgraded into what was always meant to be. The prophetic moment is that instant when God reintroduces you to your own future. Sometimes you can feel it before it manifests, a stirring in your chest, a weight in the air, like time itself is holding its breath. You begin to notice signs everywhere, conversations that confirm, songs that echo your prayers, divine interruptions disguised as coincidences. The atmosphere thickens with possibility. That's heaven saying, "It's time." But there's something important to understand. Prophetic moments are not only about revelation, they're about response. What you do when heaven speaks determines what happens next. Destiny opens, but it still waits for your yes. And this is where many falter. They wait for clarity instead of committing to trust. Yet God's pattern has always been the same: movement first, understanding later. Abraham stepped before he saw. Peter walked before he understood. You, too, are being invited to move. The moment you choose obedience, time itself begins to accelerate around you. Doors that once took years to unlock swing open effortlessly. Connections align. Strength returns. That's not coincidence. It's convergence. You are walking in prophetic rhythm. This kind of alignment isn't dramatic. It's sacredly subtle. It feels like peace that stretches wider than fear. It feels like confidence without explanation. It feels like standing in the middle of a storm and realizing the wind no longer moves you, it carries you. Some people spend their lives chasing signs, but prophetic moments rarely arrive through noise. They come through stillness, through discernment. They whisper rather than shout. So only the listening heart can catch them. And when it does, the entire atmosphere changes. Right now, heaven is whispering through this message. The waiting was not wasted. The appointed time has come. And if that truth burns inside you, if something in your spirit is saying, "Yes, this is for me," then mark this moment. Comment 555 below. It isn't superstition or ritual. It's a prophetic acknowledgement. 555 represents divine grace in motion, the triple portion of change, completion, and restoration. It's the symbol of heaven's hand rearranging your timeline. When you type it, do it as a declaration. My time has come. My restoration begins now. You're not asking for proof, you're agreeing with purpose. Because when prophetic alignment meets human agreement, miracles happen quietly but undeniably. The future begins to lean toward you. What was once delayed starts to accelerate. So breathe deeply. Stand in this sacred intersection of grace and time. The shift has already begun. And all heaven is waiting for is your agreement. Your time isn't coming, it's here. When you write 555, you're not typing numbers, you're echoing faith. It's a symbol of movement, a sign that your spirit is no longer waiting, but walking in alignment with heaven's timing. Each digit carries intention, grace multiplied, favor unfolding, completion fulfilled. By declaring it, you're joining heaven's rhythm, stepping boldly into the restoration already unfolding around you. You are not the only one awakening. across the earth. Hearts are stirring at the same invisible rhythm, souls remembering who they are, voices rising after long silence. What you are experiencing is not isolation, it's alignment. You are part of a remnant, a gathering of the remembered. There are others like you, those who have carried light quietly, who have survived unseen wars, who have waited for a signal that it's time to step forward. That time is now. The remnant is rising. In the book of Micah, chapter 5, verse 7, it is written, "The remnant of Jacob will be in the midst of many peoples, like dew from the Lord, like showers on the grass, which do not wait for anyone or depend on man." That verse describes you perfectly gentle as dew, yet unstoppable as morning. The remnant moves not by force, but by presence. Dew doesn't announce itself, it simply appears, transforming everything it touches. The rising of the remnant isn't loud or dramatic. It's steady, like roots breaking through hard soil, like light creeping across the horizon. It's happening in quiet living rooms, in lonely hearts, in prayers whispered between tears. A holy convergence is taking place, ordinary people carrying extraordinary purpose. You might not recognize them at first. They won't all look the same or speak the same. Some will be artists who turn pain into beauty. Others will be healers who mend through compassion. Some will be dreamers who carry divine ideas into the world. Together, they form a network of light stretching across nations. And here's the mystery. Most of them have walked through wildernesses just like yours. That's why you'll recognize them not by their perfection, but by the same scars you bear. They will speak your language of survival, of grace, of quiet endurance. When you meet them, your spirit will know before your mind does. There's a story of a woman who wandered for years, feeling misunderstood. Everywhere she went, she carried a sense of being different. Like her heartbeat was set to a rhythm the world couldn't hear. One day, she met another like her, a stranger who spoke the same unseen language of faith. They didn't need to explain much. Their spirits simply agreed. From that day, she knew she wasn't strange. She was chosen. She was part of the remnant. That's the beauty of this rising. Connection after isolation. Purpose after pain. The very things that once made you feel alone are now the signs that you belong. The remnant doesn't rise in pride, but in humility. They don't seek power, they carry presence. They aren't motivated by fame, they move by faith. Each one becomes a spark, and together they become an uncontainable flame. You might think your role is small, but there are no small parts in a divine plan. The thread you carry weaves into something far greater than you can see. Somewhere, someone's breakthrough depends on your obedience, your story, your light. Think of the remnant like embers scattered by the wind. At first, they seem separated, dim, but when the wind shifts just right, they find one another and ignite again. That's what is happening now. The wind of heaven is gathering its flames. The rising remnant is a quiet revolution of love. They don't tear down, they rebuild. They don't curse the darkness, they shine through it. They are teachers, healers, builders, and prophets of hope clothed in ordinary skin. If you've been sensing that pull to rise, that urge to step forward, though you can't explain why that's not coincidence, it's calling. Heaven is aligning its army of light. And here's the wonder. This rising isn't about triumphing over others, it's about lifting others with you. The remnant carries restoration wherever they walk. Their presence becomes peace. Their words become shelter. Look around your life and notice it. The conversations that suddenly feel divine. The people who bring comfort without trying. These are signs that you're not alone. The remnant is drawing near, step by step. So stand in your place with quiet confidence. You don't have to find the others. Heaven will align you in perfect timing. When your paths cross, you'll know the same light that burns in you will recognize itself in them. And when the remnant rises together, darkness will not understand it, but it will feel it. The world will not see an army, it will see a movement of grace, gentle, unshakable, and eternal. You are not a lone flame, you are part of a constellation. The night cannot silence what heaven has already aligned. The remnant rises, and you rise with them. There comes a moment when what was promised begins to return, not as it left you, but transformed. The mantle that once seemed distant now hovers near, waiting for your readiness. Heaven never wastes an anointing, it simply waits for the vessel to mature enough to carry it. The mantle is not just power, it is weight, responsibility, sacred fire stitched into your spirit. Long before the crown is visible, the mantle rests quietly on the shoulders of the faithful. You felt it even in seasons of silence, the invisible pressure of destiny, the sense that you were carrying something you could not yet name. That's how God prepares His chosen ones. He lets them wear purpose before they understand it. The first book of Kings, chapter 2, verse 13, tells the story. He picked up the cloak that had fallen from Elijah and went back and stood on the bank of the Jordan. That cloak wasn't fabric, it was fire. When Elisha picked it up, he wasn't inheriting fame or position, he was inheriting responsibility. The same is true for you. When the mantle returns, it does not simply elevate you, it expands you. It awakens authority, not for dominance, but for service. Every chosen one must face this moment, the intersection between calling and readiness. Some receive their mantle too early and struggle beneath its weight. Others hide from it too long and risk letting it fade. But the ones heaven trusts most are those who have been humbled by waiting. You are among them. Your mantle is not something new, it's something ancient that has been waiting for your yes. Each test, each heartbreak, each prayer that ended in silence was shaping your shoulders to bear it without breaking. There's a story of a young man who once prayed, "God, use me greatly," and heaven answered with a quiet season of obscurity. Years later, he realized, greatness doesn't come through crowds, it comes through surrender. When the mantle finally fell upon him, it didn't feel like glory, it felt like gravity. And yet, beneath that weight, he found peace. That's the paradox of calling. What feels heavy is also holy. The mantle presses not to crush you, but to anchor you. It keeps you grounded when the winds of recognition begin to blow. When God restores a mantle, He does so with precision. It won't fit the old you, the fearful one, the one desperate for approval. The new mantle aligns with the person you've become through endurance. It's tailored by fire, woven with patience, hemmed with humility. There is beauty in that exchange. The same pain that once made you question your worth has become the proof that you are trustworthy. Heaven does not hand mantles to the unbroken. It gives them to those who have wrestled and still worshipped. Think of the blacksmith and the blade. The sword is shaped by relentless fire and hammering, yet once complete, it gleams with purpose. That's your process. The blows you felt were not punishment, they were precision strikes, forming you into a vessel that can cut through darkness. When the mantle settles on your shoulders, it won't ask for applause, it will ask for obedience. You will find yourself drawn to moments where heaven's work needs hands. You'll speak words that heal, see beyond the surface, and move with wisdom that feels older than time. That's not intuition, that's inheritance. The return of your mantle doesn't mean your journey is easy. It means your journey now carries eternal weight. You'll feel the pull of compassion where judgment once lived. You'll sense divine nudges in places others overlook. The mantle sharpens your perception, it teaches you to see with heaven's eyes. You may not notice it happening. It comes quietly, like rain soaking into soil, reviving what once felt barren. Then, one day, you'll speak and the atmosphere will shift. You'll act and peace will follow. That's when you'll know the mantle has fully returned. You are now walking in what generations before you prayed to see. Their prayers became your covering, their sacrifices your foundation. What you carry is not just for you, it's for those still wandering, waiting to believe that purpose is possible again. So walk softly, but confidently. The mantle on your life is not a decoration, it is a declaration that heaven's work continues through you. You have not been replaced, you have been refined. And now the mantle rests not as a burden, but as a blessing, and as it settles fully, you'll realize the mantle was never borrowed. It was always yours, hidden, waiting, patient. Now, it breathes through you, alive with heaven's quiet authority. There are moments when the soul must stand up and speak, not with noise, but with knowing. This is that moment. You've walked through silence, fire, and remembrance. And now, you are being called to lift your voice, not to prove anything, but to proclaim everything heaven has done. The journey of the chosen was never meant to end in whispers. Every scar, every tear, every healed wound has been shaping your sound, the sound of declaration, of truth that shakes the unseen. This is your war cry, not a cry of battle against flesh, but a cry of awakening in the spirit. According to the writings of the Apostle Paul in the second book of Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 4, the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. Your greatest weapon is not anger, it's authenticity, not shouting, but shining. When you choose light, darkness loses ground. When you walk in peace, chaos loses influence. This is what it means to wage war like heaven does. For too long, you've been told to stay quiet, to soften your conviction, to hide your fire. But the time for shrinking has passed. The world doesn't need another echo, it needs a voice, and that voice is yours. There was once a young man who carried great faith but spoke timidly. Every time he felt the stirring to share his hope, fear wrapped around his throat. One night he dreamt he was standing before a vast field, silent and afraid. Then he heard a whisper, "If you remain silent, even the stones will cry out." He woke with tears and realized the sound wasn't waiting to be found, it was waiting to be released. From that day, his voice carried fire, not from confidence, but from conviction. You have that same fire within you. Every word of love, every act of truth, every breath of grace, it all carries the vibration of eternity. The world may not understand it, but heaven does. Heaven moves when you speak from the place of surrender. So now, as you stand in this sacred space, let your life become your war cry. Your laughter is a declaration that darkness didn't win. Your kindness is rebellion against despair. Your forgiveness is the sound of chains breaking in unseen places. When something in your spirit stirs, when your heart whispers, "This message was for me," that's your cue to move. Like this message, not as habit, but as heartbeat, your way of saying, "Yes, I'm awake." Each like is a spark added to a constellation of awakened souls. Share it as if you were sending a lantern across an ocean of shadows. Somewhere, someone still waiting for dawn may see that single light and remember hope. Comment, "Fire lives below," not as command, but as covenant. Let those two words be your ember in the chorus of faith. Your way of saying, "My flame is still alive." Then, and if this message has become a steady warmth in your heart, consider subscribing. Think of it as returning to the hearth whenever your spirit grows cold. Together, we tend the flame, each story another log that keeps the fire burning. If gratitude moves you further, you may choose to give. Let it be like pouring oil into a lamp, no pressure, no demand. Every drop of generosity becomes light for another wanderer. You're not donating to a cause, you're joining the current of kindness that keeps this river glowing. Every act, your comment, your share, your quiet offering adds a note to heaven's symphony, the song that rises from 1,000 hearts saying, "We remember who we are." Lift your head, flame bearer. You don't fight alone, you ignite others. The victory you carry is not loud, it's luminous, burning steadily through your life, lighting every path you walk. Every generation has a voice that carries through time, and now it's yours. The world doesn't need another noise. It needs truth spoken through compassion, courage wrapped in gentleness. You are that balance. Let your presence be the poem heaven writes into history. When you walk into a room, may peace enter with you. When you speak, may kindness become contagious. That is how light wages war quietly, consistently, victoriously. And if ever your fire flickers, remember this, even embers still glow. The smallest spark in darkness can still start dawn. You were never called to burn endlessly, only faithfully. So breathe, stand tall. The war cry has already echoed across heaven's halls. It carries your name, your story, your redemption. And somewhere beyond sight, angels repeat it softly, "Fire lives." Glory always returns differently than it departed. When it left, it felt like silence, like doors closing, like prayers fading into unanswered air. But when it comes back, it does not whisper, it fills the room, the heart, the atmosphere. You sense it before you see it. The same way dawn warms the horizon before light breaks open. This is what heaven calls restoration. And it's happening within you now. The things that once seemed lost have begun to stir again. Not in the same form, not through the same people or places, but in purer ways. The return of glory is never repetition. It's renewal. It doesn't rebuild what was it, resurrects what could be. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Haggai, chapter 2, verse 9, "The glory of this house shall be greater than the former, says the Lord of hosts. In this place I give peace." Peace, that's what real glory feels like. Not the noise of achievement, not the glitter of recognition, but the calm assurance that everything broken has finally found its purpose. The old house, the old you, was glorious. Yes, but this new one is weightier, stronger, seasoned with understanding. Think of gold refined in fire. It shines brighter, not because it gained something, but because it lost impurities. You have been through that furnace. The heat did not destroy you, it clarified you. Every test became a refining flame. Every delay stripped away what could not follow. And now, what remains is pure, a heart that no longer seeks glory for validation, but gives glory as gratitude. The return of glory is not loud, it's luminous. It doesn't demand attention, it draws it. When the light within you becomes steady, people begin to notice, not because you seek to be seen, but because authenticity always glows. There's a story told of a painter who lost his sight after a lifetime of creating masterpieces. For years, he lived in darkness, wondering why such a gift would be taken. But one day, someone placed a blank canvas in his hands, and out of habit, he touched it. As his fingers moved, memories of colors returned not through his eyes, but through his heart. He began painting again, guided not by vision, but by memory of light. When others saw his work, they said, "It shines differently." He smiled and replied, "That's because I no longer paint from what I see, I paint from what I know." That is the return of glory. You no longer live from what you see, you live from what you know. When glory returns, it doesn't only restore what was stolen, it transforms the thief's territory into testimony. The ground where you once wept becomes the garden where others will find healing. Your survival becomes their map home. You've noticed it, haven't you? How peace now follows you where panic used to live. How gratitude rises where fear once rooted. That's the difference between anointing and awareness. You no longer chase moments, you carry them. The return of glory doesn't make life easier, it makes it eternal. You start to see divine fingerprints in ordinary places, in laughter that heals, in quiet conversations that feel sacred, in small mercies that whisper, "I'm still here." Oh, this is not the kind of glory that fades when applause stops. It's the glory that stays when no one is watching, the radiance that lingers after tears have dried. You don't wear it like armor, you live it like breath. Look around your life now. What once looked empty is full. The same hands that once trembled with exhaustion now lift in peace. Even your silence feels sacred. It's no longer void but presence. You've become like a candle that doesn't fear the dark because it understands its own flame. The glory returning to you is not about recognition, it's about revelation. It's heaven revealing that what was crushed is now crowned, that what was buried is now blooming. The return of glory always follows the language of gratitude. When you stop asking, "Why me?" and begin whispering, "Thank you for trusting me with this fire." Heaven knows it can trust you with more. And this new glory carries gentleness. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You've learned that real power is peace, that authority is quiet, that strength is compassion, wearing a steady smile. Your life is becoming a living sanctuary, a moving temple where others can glimpse the kindness of God just by being near you. That's the sign of restoration. The old song of striving has ended. and a new melody of rest begins. So rest now. Flame bearer, the glory that returns to you today will not leave again. It is not fleeting, it is fulfillment. You have become what heaven always saw, proof that the story ends not in ashes, but in light. Everything you have walked through, every breaking, every silence, every revelation has been leading to this, remembrance. The journey began with forgetting and ends with awakening. You have not become someone new, you have remembered who you have always been. The veil has lifted, and the truth stands before you like dawn after endless night. You were never meant to disappear into the noise of the world. You were meant to carry the sound of heaven into it. The same voice that once called creation out of chaos is the one that whispered you into being. You are not random, not misplaced. You are intentional breath, divine thought clothed in skin. As was written in the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 35. So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. Confidence doesn't mean pride, it means remembrance. It's the calm knowing that the one who began your story will finish it, and that no part of the path has been wasted. Even the detours were directions in disguise. There is a quiet power in remembering. The world says you must fight to find yourself, but heaven says you only need to remember what's already been written. The greatest freedom is not discovery, it's recognition. When you finally remember, fear loses its voice. You no longer bow to anxiety because you understand authority. You stop apologizing for your light because you see it not as yours to keep, but as heaven's to share. A teacher once told a story about an eagle raised among chickens. It scratched at the dirt, mimicking those around it, believing its wings were burdens. One day, a strong wind blew through the yard, and instinct made it spread those wings for the first time. The air caught beneath them, lifting it higher and higher until the ground that once defined it became a blur. It hadn't become an eagle that day, it had remembered it always was one. That's what this moment is for you. The remembering is not about rising above others, it's about rising above the limits you once believed. When you remember who you are, you stop trying to be what you're not. The pressure to perform fades, replaced by the peace of authenticity. You no longer need to chase validation, because truth doesn't beg to be seen, it simply shines. The world will notice the shift, even if they can't name it. You'll walk differently, not with arrogance, but assurance. You'll speak differently, not louder, but with weight. People will sense something sacred about your stillness, something familiar in your fire. That's remembrance made visible. Sometimes remembering hurts. It pulls up old dreams buried under disappointment, old callings that went quiet under fear. But even that ache is holy. It means something long dormant is stirring again. Every memory of pain, when surrendered, becomes memory of grace. Every scar becomes scriptural proof of redemption, written across your life. You no longer see yourself as damaged, but as detailed. Every mark carries meaning, and as the remembering deepens, gratitude begins to overflow. You start thanking God, not only for victories, but for valleys, because you realize both shaped your voice. You understand that mercy didn't meet you at the finish line, it walked beside you all along. There is peace in this awareness. You no longer ask, "Why me?" but whisper, "Thank you for choosing me." Not in superiority, but in surrender. You finally understand that being chosen was never about privilege, it was about purpose. Look at how far you've come. The one who once doubted now declares. The one who once hid now shines. The one who once questioned worth now carries wisdom. This is what remembrance does. It rewrites posture. It restores vision. And now, as heaven watches, your story glows like a constellation, each trial a star, each victory a pulse of light. Together, they form a map for those still wandering in the dark. The remembering is complete. You are not at the end, you are at the beginning of what you were always meant to be. The earth has been waiting for your clarity, for your presence, for your becoming. So walk forward. Chosen one, not as someone searching, but as someone found, not as a survivor, but as a sovereign of grace. The world needs the sound of your remembrance. You are eternity's evidence that redemption is real, that purpose is stronger than pain, and that light always returns. And as you take your next step, heaven leans closer. The story continues through you now, living proof that the remembered never fade. They only shine brighter through time. So this is where the story pauses, but it doesn't end. Because the words don't live here, they live in you. Every sentence that stirred your spirit was a seed, and now it waits to grow through your actions. Your kindness, your quiet courage. The world is listening for your echo, the sound of one who remembers. If this journey has touched something deep in you, let it continue its ripple. Like this message, if it resonated with your soul, not for numbers or attention, but as a soft torch lifted into the night, signaling, the light still lives. Share it not as obligation, but as invitation. Somewhere, another soul is standing where you once stood, on the edge of surrender, searching for a sign. Your sharing may be the thread heaven uses to pull them back into hope. If this space has become a refuge for your spirit, subscribe. Think of it as building a small altar of remembrance, one that keeps the flame alive, for you to return to when the noise grows loud again. And take a moment to leave a comment, your reflection, your peace, your one sentence of gratitude. It's not about being seen, it's about adding your voice to the quiet choir of those who remember. Each word becomes a ripple of light, moving farther than you'll ever know. If your heart feels stirred to go deeper, you may choose to give. Picture it as adding another stone to a growing temple of light. No demand, no pressure, just gratitude made visible. Your offering becomes oil for lamps that burn across unseen distances, guiding those still finding their way home. And before you leave this moment, take a breath. Whisper something kind to yourself. Whisper it like a vow. I will keep my flame alive. No, because this isn't goodbye, it's continuation. The story of the chosen doesn't end in words. It begins again every time light meets another heart through you.